Am I the only one who finds it weird how the custom prince was released on his own, let alone costed gems? Like, they usually release 2 characters at once, with one being paid. Huh, maybe it's the start of a new business tactic where we get slightly less content but it's all gem-based. That would be really nice for free-to-play.
Boom, what up?
Oh, that explains a lot. So Soul Knight released a new update, introducing a new character, the third skills for Airbender and Demonmancer about damn time. Seriously, they must have forgotten it or something. A new floor with a chef that gives you a challenge edition, and the whole 2 new skins, really spawning us there, Chilling Room, and hold on. An update for the Druid? Man, congratulations, Druid mains, Chilling Room remembers you. All 3 of them. The update is small, yeah, which makes me think that this was all supposed to come out with 5.4.0, but it's really not that big of a deal. Content is content and I'll take it. Before we dive in, I'd like to apologize for not posting this video early like I did for the custom prints. I had some important college finals and I couldn't find any time to play or edit. But now that that's done, let's talk about Soul Knight's newest character, the Physicist. The Physicist is the newest hero in Soul Knight, with 5 hearts, 5 armor, and 200 energy. She's a scientist that found out that they're not actually living a normal life and instead are in a video game. Huh, how did you figure that one out? Is it that you can get ass blasted by a point-blank cannon and still chill in front of the TV in the same afternoon? Or was it that your pet cat is immune to all sorts of life enders? Or is it the fact that half of you all lose their penises in an update and then magically regrow them in the next? She's a damage character focused on dealing AoE damage and crit attacks. She's actually close to a support too, with her skill affecting everyone, although one can argue that she's a brawler thanks to how her skill protects their team. Huh? What's a brawler and why does the character class matter? Well, you're gonna have to subscribe and wait for the next video to find that one out. Her passive is the Lightning Crit buff, a brand new buff in the game that you can get between levels. It increases the crit rate of all your weapons by 5% and makes your crit attacks apply lightning that chains to all enemies. This is basically a straight damage buff to bows, and combos really well with buffs that increase your crit chance like the accuracy buff. It also makes duoing with a second skill officer really good for those who are willing to play additional support playstyle known to man. On the Physicist herself, it makes her room clear super solid, as now all your weapons apply chain attacks, so even single fire weapons become excellent at killing waves. While her passive can be insane, it does contradict her skills usage a bit. More on that later. Let's first discuss the starter weapon. Her starter weapon is the Ion Excitator. The fuck? It's a no-charge railgun that fires slow but hard-hitting projectiles. When upgraded to the Ion Fuser, the 5th projectile is bigger and leaves behind an electric field that deals bonus electric damage. I find it really funny how every recent character has such a unique weapon that has a twist on it that makes it stand out, meanwhile the Demonmancer is out there chucking more keys at you than a pianist. This is definitely one of the better starter weapons in my opinion. Its low rate of fire makes it kind of weak against a group of enemies, but that's when her passive comes in. The 5th shot is there. It deals a single ticket damage, but the AoE does help out slightly. You can definitely give this weapon to World 2, but I'd hardly recommend letting go of it as World 3. Would I take this over the Elf's Bow or the Custom Prince's gun? Probably not. Railguns are better when they can be charged up into a powerful attack, but it's definitely up there, especially when combined with the first skill. Speaking of which,
sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl. But Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical X.
this is literally the biggest middle finger pad this main got since the... never mind. Her first skill, E.M Field, makes her throw a projectile that explodes after a short distance or upon hitting an enemy, expanding into a huge field. The field deals AoE damage, has a chance to stun, empowers all attacks passing through it with electric damage, and when fully upgraded blocks all incoming projectiles. I'm gonna have to check this lady's ID because she's looking less like a scientist and more like Oppenheimer if he was an AC/DC fan. This skill is strong as shit. It basically doubles the damage of anything passing by, as well as dealing more damage on its own. Not only does it sometimes stun, but it also denies damage from projectiles. It's damage, crowd control, and defense, all in one skill. You can either open with it to clear out the first wave quickly, or wait till your armor depletes to turn on the sides of the battle. It's also amazing for co-op, giving everyone a safe area that buffs up the damage is so strong. However, it does have a couple of fatal flaws. The elephant in the room being, well, it's only defense against projectile. Everything else goes right through it. She has the Airbender syndrome of having it to be stationary to deal damage and protect herself, but being vulnerable to lasers, AoE attacks, and elemental pools. Which works for the Airbender because his deadly laser's damage is more ridiculous than Jimny Rogue's price. But it doesn't work for the Physicist because her damage entirely relies on what weapon she has, meaning it's inconsistent. This is where the contradiction I was talking about before kicks in. While the passive encourages high crit chance weapons like snipers, railguns, and bows, the skill's damage app feature encourages, well... So really, pick whatever playstyle you want, I guess. Either that or fish for the accuracy buff. Oh, speaking of which... Wait, what's the difference between this part and tips? Who cares? While the passive may seem like it makes her synergize better with crit-based weapons like bows and such, I found it more effective to just use rapid-fire weapons with her. The fast fire rate leads to more crits, which could pop out the lightning faster than regular crit weapons. For buffs, you want to get the accuracy buff obviously for the increased crit chance and thus more lightning, the fire rate buff to make the most out of your skill's duration, and finally an energy buff or an attachment since she has no energy restoration on any of her base kit. For co-op, she will be insane with a second skill Tywist. Increasing the damage essentially twice would be ridiculous, although it could deny your Tywist the ability to deflect bullets. And like previously mentioned, the officer with the second skill will net a lot of lightning. Additionally, the new Airbender skill will be devastating with her since it also buffs allies. You really just don't want to run anything else that relies on melee since your field clears out projectiles anyways and it doesn't amp the melee. Number 1. Treat your field like it's a turret. You don't want the line of sight to be cut off by the environment. Number 2. If you have the ability to do so, wait before you use the skill until your armor depletes to make the most out of your almost invulnerable state. Number 3. You can shoot 4 shots before you enter the room with the iron fuser to have the 5th shot ready for when you enter the room. Number 4. You don't need to be in the middle of the field to get the bonus damage, especially if the lasers are in it. You can have it in front of you and you'll still get that damage and some protection. And finally, number 5, despite having a decent health and armor pool, she's still rather squishy, so get more health. Just don't overdo it. Unless you're like me and you don't know how much health is too much. So currently, if you use your skill, you can't switch weapons. Does anybody know if this is intentional? Because if it is, this should go away. It screws you over a lot if you have the wrong weapon out and you throw it for protection, especially with the throwable weapons and their high downtime like in this clip. If it's a bug, then yeah, let's hope a fix is on the way. Speaking of things that are intentional but shouldn't be, why is the field a throwable projectile? It makes it so awkward to place it since you throw it where you're aiming, and its short range makes it so that the mechanic is useless anyways. It's not like it even goes far, why not make it just insulated blowing? And finally, I actually like the idea of the second floor. Unique enough, hopefully she doesn't stay lonely up there for long. So now let's move on to the two forgotten characters, the Airbender and the Demonmancer. The Airbender skill make his and all his teammates' attacks apply Kaigong energy waves, aka the waves that he has as a passive. It deals increased damage based on the weapon's damage, and defeating enemies will replenish your armor. Now that we got all the Airbender skills, I can simply say that I'm a little disappointed. Primarily because the Deadly Laser combo was such a unique mechanic and a neat idea, and I was looking forward to seeing more combos with his future skills, but alas, no such luck. As for the skill itself, well, it follows the Airbender's theme of needing buffs. Much like how the base weapon needs the fire and ice buffs to be great, the Deadly Laser needing the ice buff and the laser buff to be even more overpowered, and the Orbiting Stars needing the cooldown reduction and mentor buff to be good, this skill really needs the ice buff and mentor upgrade. Having all your weapons freeze enemies is insane, especially since unlike the Deadly Laser, you can move around while firing. It does discourage the use of slow single-fire weapons, but really what part of this update doesn't? It also makes the mentor upgrade really important because it gives you a reset on every elimination, which is really good. And the armor generation makes it really good as a killstreak weapon as well, meaning it scales really well. Overall, a really nice skill, and I definitely like it more than Orbiting Stars, but honestly, I still don't see it being better than the Deadly Laser. The 150 damage beam that gives your shield is surprisingly more broken than bonus damage, 1 at 11. I am not reading all that.
Don't care.
TLDR, you get this bad looking dude floating above you all the time like the lectures you postpone studying. He targets enemies you attack and does a whole 1 damage.
OPAF.
But seriously, the damage is more like an indicator that he took a soul. When you press the skill, he gives you and your teammates a small paladin shield that lasts for 2 seconds plus 0.1 second per soul, maxing out at 50 aka 5 extra seconds. If you do have 50 souls, the next user ability will also heal you for 2 health. Every imp that exists when you press the skill gets sacrificed as an additional soul. So basically, it's just a fancy way of saying it's a paladin shield. Yeah, just cutting the chase, the second skill is still better, and I wouldn't recommend you take this, just plain paladin or something. Okay, the Druid Rework is fun as hell. Basically, instead of spawning the wolves, they already spawn from the get-go, and pressing the skill now empowers them for the duration with bigger size, damage, and elemental attacks that also leave pools. The cooldown is longer, but the pets are much better. They can wreak havoc now, and they synergize more with just the bed buffs. Now it also interacts with the ice buff and the fire buff. The vines are also much better, but honestly, it's not that much different. The stars of the show are the wolves, and man, that new twist is really good. Definitely try it out. Who knows, maybe we'll see more than a couple of druid mates around. Only a couple of skins released, but overall they look really good. Wait, they gave my zodiac sign to the officer?